name of the podcast is Dream Plan Execute, where I highlight individuals who dream frictionless, plan thoroughly, execute relentlessly, and math. Miango, you're definitely one of those persons. What made you have an interest in that?
Honestly, I always had a passion for numbers. I grew up in a household just with math. I always enjoy like the computation side, the applied math side. There was challenges, but I really like the feeling that I get to help people enjoy math, and that's the math appreciation. That's why I did my PhD in math education. So as soon as I graduated that May, I started teacher college in September. So I did math education there, but I was also working 3 different jobs. So, as New York, I would say that taught me a lesson. I got to appreciate all walk of life. So I was able to network with math educator in the Netherlands and Italy, and I learned that every country has their own education system. My PhD focused on teachers who are not math teachers, but they use math application. How do they teach it and how they overcome it? We can actually use the AI to, as you call it, hurt the brain in a way like find me the mistake. Here's an algebra question on quadratic factoring. Tell me what is the mistake that this AI did.
So, what does college readiness looks like for a New Yorker or like a New York curriculum?
The first thing that needs to be college ready is motivation. We have to make sure the students are passionate about it. To be college ready stems along with being resilient and being able to be curiosity about what you're learning.
Prep is your platform, right?
Yes, it's our platform, and what we want to do is to work with schools in New York City and to help students become math resilient and college ready. The one thing also about me working with schools and even to charter schools that my mom grew up in the South Bronx, and I want to get back to the South Bronx. My mom grew up in poverty. I understand that. Helping students in the South Bronx build resilience and seeing them overcome their challenges with my eyes,
Matt, how you doing today, boss man?
All good, bro. Good seeing you after a few years,
Yeah, it's been at least 10. So lots happened. You've definitely done quite a few things in your 10 years. To get a PhD in math is no easy feat. To focus on math in general at NYU is no easy feat. And I'm just thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, listen, the name of the podcast is Dream Plan Execute, where I highlight individuals who dream frictionless, plan thoroughly, execute relentlessly, and math. Miango, you're definitely one of those persons. But I
I
want to get back into what made you from the jump, right? Like, why math? What made you have an interest in math?
Honestly, I always had a passion for numbers. My dad is actually a math lecturer at LaGuardia Community College. Been
Ah,
doing that
okay,
for 40
okay.
something years, and I grew up in a household just with maths, and I always enjoy the computation side, the applied math side. And as
Mm,
you know from poly days, there was challenges, but I really like the feeling that I get to help people enjoy math, and that's the math appreciation. That's why I did my PhD in
mm,
math education.
And I don't think you remember, but you tutored me in math, by the way. You don't remember?
Really? I don't
Yeah,
remember. Oh, snap.
yeah, you did. You did. Myself, Aaron, that whole gang
Yes,
of GS students was
I
going through
yes,
pre-pro.
I
You
wow.
definitely, yeah. See, you be helping people you even remember, but yeah. But I could tell you had a passion for it because you had what I consider. There are people who are good at math, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be a good teacher, right? Because something comes naturally to them, so they have a hard time understanding why someone has a difficulty with the subject, right? And what you genuinely have is a level of patience. Because when someone has like a difficulty with something, they're already beating themselves up in the head, right? They're already already like hurt that they don't get it and someone else gets it, right? And so when you meet a teacher who has the patience to like sit with you and work through like why you're not getting it and don't make you feel stupid for it, the students usually do well, right?
I
And you
I always
that
say math is interesting or fun. That's all I say.
yeah. And I remember the month like you being on the board with the GS students, um, going over stuff and like repeating yourself, but patiently repeating yourself so the person could get it. So definitely saw that you had a passion for math. I just didn't realize you were going to take it all the way to a PhD, my friend, in England. That is pretty impressive.
A small place called Norwich. in the United Kingdom.
But before we get there, I want to like walk through. So like in high school, like everyone has you know you have a passion for math, but you could have became an engineer. You could have done physics with the math. You could have. Why did you like double down on math education? What made you feel like that's what you wanted to do?
Honestly, so in high school, I went to Academy of American Studies. I went to
Okay.
history high school. The last math
Mm,
course I took in high school was
yeah.
trigonometry. I thought I
Mm,
was going to go be a lawyer, but I'm like, nah, I don't like the writing so much. Turns out I did math education, which is all writing.
very
It
interesting.
was history or math I like. And
Gotcha.
honestly, like I wasn't a good writer in high school, but then years later, as we get older, we evolve.
And so I like that you said that because, like, for me and my story to even before you met me at Poly, let's just go back to little Ramon in Jamaica,
Hmm.
right? So, at some point between high school, like, you know that you're used to the English system. High school starts in seventh grade in Jamaica because we follow the English system, right? And then it can finish in 13th grade. Your requirement is 7 through 11, which is what they consider secondary, and then you have A levels. I'm sure you've heard of A levels, no, which is equivalent to your what you would have your like high school graduate courses that you could take before you
Hmm.
go to college. And I was struggling. I literally was struggling with math. Like I just didn't get it. It was hard for me. And I met a really good teacher, Sheldon McDonald. Shout out to him, right? And I'm in the class. I look at the board. It makes sense to me while he's explaining it to me. And then I go home. I look at the problem. I can't figure out the problem, and I just don't do it, right? And at one point he's like, "Listen, Ramon, I can help you, but I need you to also commit to trying and failing." And he's like, "You're trying to deal with this math problem like it's an English or a history class." And he's like, "You can't read your way through the problem. You have to do the problem, fail at the problem, and then I'll help you after class with where you get stuck. And until you get to that stuck point, don't stop, right? Like just keep going." And so every time he would help me with that stuck point, and it's just like that, it just stuck in my head like, okay, all right. So it's not that I'm bad, it's just that I have these little sticking points. And this is really just like cooking. Like if you don't put heat to a stove and put fire to the pot and cook, you could read all the ingredients books you want to read. You're not cooking, right? And so once he like spent the time, but the reason the other teachers couldn't get through to me is what I was explaining to you is like they naturally was very good at math. And so they're just like, I don't understand why you don't get this. And the moment you like come with that type of energy and attitude, you shut down the student, right? Like the person is already beating themselves up. And at that point, it gave me the confidence like, well, maybe I don't have to do architecture alone. Maybe I could do engineering. And then from there, we went to engineering school, and that's where you met me. So, then math teachers to me have a dear space in my heart because they've changed my trajectory for my life and what I did with my life. So, so after poly, you finish your math bachelor's in science. Which class do you think was like the class where you're like, whoa, math is crazy at poly? I'm just curious.
Oh, that was real analysis.
Real analysis,
Yep.
huh?
Oh, that's I never forget it because it wasn't computation; it was just pure math. Taking
It's
with
just
master
pure math.
students, and
Yikes.
that was senior year too. Never forget that.
Yikes. And then I'm sure in the math department, you take all the math class. I know it's like crazy to
Yes,
say.
if I remember, you get to select, but we didn't take like discrete math. That was
Oh,
more the
you didn't have to take
no.
discrete? Yeah,
I
discrete is
avoided.
like.
I'd be fair. Yeah.
What about all the stats classes? Did you have to take all the
I took
stats?
probability. Yeah, I took data analysis. They call it.
Okay, you took data analysis, got you. How far up the chain in calculus do you guys go? Do you guys go like,
Multivariable. So it was
oh, so you
calculus
go up to all the
three.
way up to,
Yeah,
what's that, three? Okay,
three.
got you. All right, so you have all the fun jazzes that everyone had. All right, very good, very good. And then from there, you finish your degree in math, and then did you do this in parallel, or did you do this right after you went and
Right.
become?
So as soon I graduated that May, I started teacher college in September of 2015.
Got you, and that was in Columbia University.
Yeah. So I did math education there, but I was also working three different
Mm.
jobs.
So tell us about those three jobs. What three
Oh,
jobs you was doing?
I used to teach 7 a.m. statistics at BMCC, and
Gotcha.
then teach two classes there, teach two classes at LaGuardia Community College in the afternoon, go to
Mm,
school at night, and repeat the process the next day. And at
gotcha.
the same time, I used to do a student teacher at a Harlem school.
Mm,
Did that for a little bit, did a Saturday class. So, as New York, things are
yeah,
expensive.
that's hustling.
Yeah. And doing school the same. I mean, I would say that taught me a lesson. As in,
Yeah,
like, it built me up for years to come because I got to appreciate all walk of life from community college. Like going to NYU is a special privilege. Like you're
yeah,
competing with one of the best students, and now you get to see students who like you want to help overcome their challenges. And you have parents. You teach students who are in their 60s coming back to school want to do something else, and
yeah.
it's a different challenge.
Yeah, I got a taste of that right before I got to poly. So we had community service always that we would do in Jamaica to to kind of round you out as a well established student to get into colleges, right? And I would do my community service as a bookkeeper in the local church, like admin office, right? And I'm, taking care of the books, organizing stuff. And the main admin or the main administrator was like, listen, you're doing this and this is easy for you, but I really want to challenge you. Like, she was from a different high school. And my high school was a little bit more free flowing, like, just get your community hours in, however you do it. But she's like, we actually challenge our students to take on more impactful work. Like, they go to like community centers and like give food to the needy or teach or do something. And it's like, at the church we have a Jamal program, and the Jamal program was built for adults who didn't get the chance to learn how to read and write,
Yeah.
to come back and take classes to learn how to read and write.
Hmm.
And so she's like, and it's literally downstairs and you're starting tomorrow. And I'm like, listen, I'm not a teacher. Like, I English, I don't love to, like, I'm not a great writer. I wasn't a great writer at the time, right? So English wasn't my forte, right? I was like, I don't really know if this is gonna work. She's like, I don't care. Like, you're in 12 and 13 grade in a prominent high school. You can more than teach remedial English classes. It's not a problem. And it was one of my favorite things to do. It became such a joy to do because the moment when you see someone like eyes light up, where like the words have meaning, like they see the word and understand what the word means, right? Like, they know, can read billboards, right? They can like walk past a sign and know what it means. And just how impactful and shameful they feel, like that they've gotten so far and not have chances to like learn this life skill that everyone has. One of the students told me like his reason for coming back, he became a whole grandfather, and his grandkid asked him to read a storybook and he couldn't do it. And he was like, I had to come back here to learn how to read. Like, I had to do this. Like, there would be days when it would rain, and I'm
Hmm.
like, there's no way these people are coming to class. So I'm like strolling to class, like the class is gonna be empty, and I'm gonna turn back home. And everyone's like locked and loaded, but like, what happened? Like, what took you so long? Like, so the passion, the drive, the stories, I can only imagine when you say community, coming from NYU and doing like you said, helping people overcome challenges is probably, for a mathematician like yourself, not very hard math, but for them and their challenge or where they are, you're meeting them where they are and seeing that overcoming that story probably brought, some sort of satisfaction in that, right?
Of course, it's their resiliency.
Yeah, right. No, that's dope, man. Like like I said, I love people who are really good at what they do and are able to impart that on somebody, right? Like, part of the podcast is talking about your ikigai and finding your ikigai. And are you familiar with ikigai?
No.
So it's a Japanese philosophy called ikigai, which just means you're finding your life's path or your life's purpose,
Okay.
and it's four intersecting circles. What you're good at, what the world need, what people will pay you for, and what individuals constitute as their love or their passion, right? So if you don't have the love for it, but you're good at it and the world needs it and they pay you for it, is your profession. It's not quite a ikigai, right? But if you love it and you don't get paid for it and you're good at it, it's a passion or a hobby, but it's not quite your ikigai. It needs to have all four. So
Great.
yeah, and I feel like when persons like you come on the podcast, I can see the ikigai kind of shine through them, right? Like you have found that thing that you're good at and you love doing it, the world need it, and you can get paid for it. It's fantastic. So let's talk through like so you're going to teachers college at Columbia. How was that? Like what was the difference between being like a math student, learning how to teach math? Like what was that for you?
It was the journey of becoming a writer because math
Mm,
education is more reading, more writing, and that's a different appreciation in itself. Some
mm,
math, mathematician be like, "Oh, math education, it's not maths." Well, it is because you have to think about it differently. You're reading about what's going on around the world, about
mm,
research, how other people are implementing their pedagogy or their mathematical teaching in the classroom.
okay.
It's a different type of, I won't say hard, but a different type of knowledge you're gaining.
Mm,
And
interesting.
I met more. I got to experience more students who are actually going into teaching high school and middle school. So the different, you get to see a different perspective from their lens.
Mm, okay. And then what I'm sure you're doing like case studies, not just stateside, but like international case studies, right? Like
Yeah, so there was courses that focus on like, if I remember this years ago, you get to explore like, okay, what's happening in China, what's happening in Japan. And
right.
those are very interesting case studies.
Right. And I think most people on the podcast know that we've kind of gotten to that point. Is curious why math in China or Finland is so not only easier for the students, but the students' ability to execute math is higher than say stateside. What do you think is the antagonizing force that stops it from being as well executed on the state side of things?
Well, because of my journey here to England taught me a lot. So
Mm,
I was able to network with math educator in the Netherlands
yeah,
and Italy, and I learned that every country has their own education system. They're
for sure.
more I would say in England, there's so much pressure at the early age to focus what you want to do in life. So, for example, at 16, you might not study mathematics again at your uni days, and there's a pro and con to this. Like, you get to decide early, like you're going to be straight at this, and this is what you're going to execute. But
Hmm.
in our lens, I would say the one thing good about learning math, even though there's productive struggle and challenges over the years,
Yeah,
you get to change in the United States. Like, you get to say, okay, at 18, I might study computer science. I might go into engineering. But
yeah.
at 30, I'm like, well, I'm going to do something else. And that could have happened.
I echo that sentiment because I've lived both systems. So like Jamaica is a Commonwealth country, so it follows the English track, right? And you're right. At 16, at grade 9, you pick your subjects, right? And picking your A levels kind of goes to what you're going to pick for your O levels is what you end up picking for your A levels, right? So
Yeah.
if you want to go down the business track, you're taking principles of business, principles of accounting. If you're going down the literature track, you're taking English literature and English. Going on the science track, and by the time you've committed to that for the 3 4 years,
Hmm.
for you to know getting to college for engineering and say you don't have A level math, it's not happening, right? Like you got to go back to do O levels, which is ninth grade through 11th grade,
Hmm.
and then at that point take A levels, which is the next 2 years. So there's a 5 year commitment. Then you're allowed to go into college in that arena. Whereas, like you said, in the US, you really could just pop up at a college first year and be like, listen, let me in. I want to try computer science. Then let me get a stab at it, right? And so, it's like you get this roundedness in the approach where you have free will to go and try something. But there is also, like you said, merit in doubling down on a focus because you really get to dive deep into math, right? So for me, pure math, we had pure math in 12th and 13th grade in Jamaica. My first few gray hairs on the edges came from that class. So when I got to poly, I've already seen calculus 2. all the underbellies of calculus too, right? So it was not a surprise when calculus and calculus two came up on the board, right? But again, you have students who are coming from colleges in Georgia or somewhere else where they've never seen calculus.
Mhm.
This is their first interaction with calculus, and they're going through like a 6 months blitz of it, right? And it's not set up as easily for someone to get calculus in 6 months unless you're a brilliant person, right? So I get it. So you feel that the difference is that like focus slash rounded approach difference in America versus elsewhere.
Yes, and also their life is different. I think
Hmm.
here in the UK, like you're more relaxed. Where I think in the US we have so much pressure on like scores and achievements that we
Yes,
sometimes forget about why we're learning in the first place.
that is. You really are immersed down there over in England. 'Cause that is so true. Like when I was in high school, time felt like it moved a lot slower, right? And the reason for that is like we weren't requested to do homework every week. It
Hmm.
was like we're going to get through this entire topic together, right? And then at the end of the topic, we're going to have a homework session that is going to encapsulate all this what we just covered, right? And
Hmm.
so you had time to digest, literally. You don't feel like you're stuffing food down your throat. And we went
Yes.
really deep. Like, I don't think the stuff that I learned, uh, uh, definitely in Jamaica, went the no, challenge wise. Didn't get challenged like how I got challenged in Jamaica until I got to junior year of college. Like, in the level of difficulty and complexity of work.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it felt like, but it never felt as stressed though. Like America felt stressed. Could
Remember our
feel,
poly days?
yeah, it
It
just
was
felt,
stress.
yeah, it's like because you have homework every week. And if you
Hmm.
have homework every week and you have four classes, you have four homeworks, right?
That's
And
right.
each homework is like tied to your grade, like, and it's part of your grade, right? And so there's this like level of anxiety, like, if I don't catch this week, like I'm done because I'm going to lose out on this homework, right? Grade.
Think about it, 90 is an A for us in New York, right? But in
Yes.
UK, it's 70. So you have leeway. You have time to be like, I want to execute this and not be good
Right.
at this. So, you know,
That is also true too. Like, yeah, definitely. Even with the exams, there was like exam strategies are a little different. Where
you have formative and summative. Formative is like it doesn't count, but you get to practice it in a way.
yes, yes, yes. No, speaking to you is bringing me back deja vu, right? Because I've
Right?
been over in the US for so long that I forgot. Like, yeah, it felt a lot, and you enjoy the process of learning more because it's not just about the grade. It's about like really digesting into your DNA what you're learning, and the passion comes through, and not less anxiety, more passion.
Exactly.
Got you. So, all right. So you did teach in College of Columbia, and then what happened? Like, why you decided to go stateside? Why you decided to get a PhD?
Well, I tell you, so what happened was actually, this is where my term resilience can come in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the place I did a PhD program in the States, but I actually did a PhD in the States first. And I
Ah,
was told
interesting.
by this anonymous person that I did not have the talent for a PhD 3 months in. And then
Ah,
I'm like, okay. So I took my talent to the UK and I
gotcha.
met two wonderful supervisor and Professor Elena Nardi, and she actually guided me. She said, Matt, one thing I want you to do is you have to sit down and learn how to like become a writer again. And that's
Mm-hmm.
important because in teacher college they were more focused on math compared to math education. In
Mm-hmm.
the UK, you focus on math education. There's like you appreciate the writing. And what I did was my supervisor did was okay, every month you write 1,000 words
Mm-hmm.
and you take meaning notes. So my passion is narrative inquiry. So I like writing narratives. I love telling stories. And I
Mm-hmm.
use that to become a good writer over the years.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. So, like, when you're writing for math education, like, what are you writing? Just for me to understand. Like,
So
what are
I'm
you
looking at
writing?
the purpose of the study. Like, for example, these days and age, like why is AI technology important in the classroom for maths? How
Mm-hmm.
does that help build math resilience? So I look
Yeah.
at the students overcoming their challenges. Like, what if the need is,
Mm,
for example, oh, like I'm here because I have to take this course. Okay, how do you feel about mathematics? And I
mm-hmm.
think the feeling is sometimes we ignore. We're all concerned about the maths, but
Right.
if to order the maths to come, the feeling has to be there.
It's a fact. Like even when you talk to people stateside about math, there's like, oh, math, or like there's an anxiety about math. Like it's this difficult task that they've never really gotten because they just got through their math classes and not appreciate the tool that it is for their life and the things they can do. Right. So yeah, I think there's a lot of cultural like reprogramming that needs to happen to like make people feel like this is a life tool and you want to learn it and it's fun and it's
Mhm.
good to know, right? So because I've seen both sides of the fence. I've been good at math and I've also been terrible at math. So I know what it feels like not caring or getting the anxiety of like math and hating it, and then like seeing the light, like having a coach, having a teacher to kind of guide you through the process of like, no, you're good. Like you just need to do it like this. You need to approach it like this. You need to do more practicing. You need to practice the questions more. And you find a lot of athletes, like we used to have this term called mathlete, where there's a lot of athletes like track or soccer who end up
Mhm.
being really exceptional at math because it's very similar to being an athlete. You go to training, you do drills,
Mhm.
you keep drilling it until you get good at it, and then before you're flowing, right? And so
Right.
they take that same like level of like studiousness off the field or off the pitch and then apply it to math and they end up being brilliant. A lot of the top math students at my high school in Jamaica were excellent athletes.
I mean,
So
football, right?
yeah,
That's,
when I say football, well, I can say football to you, no, because you live in the you live.
yeah, I mean, I say NFL football. I say
But I need to know like what football team you over there supporting because
I
I can
actually support
gauge your.
Liverpool, but I am
Okay.
a Fulham membership. So yeah.
Okay, I gotta make sure, Liverpool's all right. I'm a Man U fan, but
Ah, fair enough.
we won't end the podcast on that. It's all right. We'll let you live to see it next day. So you've been to a game. You've been
Plenty
to.
of time. Yeah, I've been to Millwall games. I've been to Fulham games.
Got you.
I've been to Anfield. I've been to so yeah, I've
All
been
right,
immersed.
that's very very versed in the English culture. Do you like fish and chips? Is that a thing for you?
Honestly, I mean, I like Sunday roast. I gotta give it
No,
credit, and
got
Miss
you.
Pie.
Okay, all right. You've been to Wimbledon. 'Cause you gotta go to Wimbledon at some
That's
point.
on my bucket list.
You
Doing
gotta
many
go
years,
to
6 years.
Wimbledon.
Yeah, that's
Gotta
on my
go to
bucket list.
Wimbledon. Gotta go to Wimbledon. You gotta go to a cricket game.
I have been to a cricket game. I've been to the Oval, the
Oh, you've
Hundred
been
Bowl.
to Oval? All right,
Yeah,
very nice. All right. Okay, very good, very good.
I
So,
I
like,
need to do rugby. By the way, rugby is my next one.
rugby, yes. Union or league?
The league.
League. Okay, very good. Listen, like you gotta, like I said, never been to England, but when I come, I'm gonna come
Oh,
visit.
yeah, you gotta hit me up. That's it.
Yeah, I gotta hit you up, man. I gotta hit you up. So listen, like, so you went to England, you started math education, a PhD. What was your focus in math education
I looked
in your
at
PhD?
3D printing technology in the
3D printing
prim- um,
technology.
in primary education. So I
Mm.
was looking at how 3D printing pens, Tinkercad, AutoCAD,
Yeah.
and MakerBot, how
Hmm.
that journey of creating allow us to think mathematically and inspire like our future teacher to teach math, not be afraid of math.
Mm. Very interesting.
Because
What? Yeah, go ahead.
a lot of primary, so as in these in New York State elementary school teachers, they don't need to specialize in maths. They
Okay.
have to teach it. So my PhD focused on teachers who are not math teachers, but they're design technology, nutrition, and they use math application. How do they teach it and how do they overcome it in a way?
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. And then, so when you go down a track of math education, right?
Hmm.
You could become a teacher, or you could be a teacher of teachers.
Correct.
Gotcha. And your focus now is teaching teachers how to teach math.
That is correct. That was my focus. Yes,
Okay,
during my
gotcha.
PhD.
Got it. And now, as it stands now, your focus is what exactly with your math education degree?
Well, having all this experience,
Yeah.
and even doing tutoring as well, working for high impact tutoring, I
Mhm.
realized, well, I want now to work with schools and help
Mhm.
students who are not appreciate math, but help them understand, like, overcome the challenges and become resilient towards maths.
Okay. And you said that word two times, quite a few times, resilience and overcome. You said it multiple times
Mhm.
on the pod. Um, what resilience, what do you mean by becoming more resilient with math and overcoming? Like dive deeper in that.
So in elementary school, middle school, and high school,
Yeah.
a lot we've seen this throughout New York State and throughout the country in the United States.
Yeah.
Maths is something that we have to do, and
Mhm.
some students are very like scared or fear because they're like, "Oh, I don't like maths." And I think
Right.
one thing is like when we sit down in the classroom is to think about ourselves and what can we think about how to appreciate math. What is our niche? Like as in
Yeah.
like, okay, I have to go Black Friday's coming, Thanksgiving coming. Like we use math for application there.
Yeah. Right.
How can I appreciate math to say, okay, I'm in this classroom, but now let me conquer this. Let
Yes.
me do this that way in the future. I can say, hey, I did this. And as well, like, with AI coming along, is
Yeah.
like we have to see, like, okay, not to use the AI, but how does the AI also help us become math resilience?
Mm. Mm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure for a lot of teachers, no, AI kind of is like you can't get rid of it. It's here, right?
Yes.
Students are going to use it, right?
Hmm.
And how do you like combat the students using it, but like not relying on it and really digesting what they're supposed to learn, right? Like for you and myself, who ended up taking the time to learn how to write properly and do that, like if you had AI, you could become
I wish we had AI back in the day.
you'd have been a novelist. You wouldn't even have that challenge anymore. But there's merit in that, taking the time to hurt your brain. I call it hurt your brain work. Like it hurt. Like you feel a headache because you've been so focused on this thing, and like you have to take a break from it. You have to go get something to eat. You come back to it, and then you work on it, and then eventually you overcome it. You don't really have that hurt your brain work with AI. You just kind of like verbal diarrhea, kind of what you want to put in, and then like jazz it up, make it professional. You give it the context, and it gives it to you. So, how do you now find ways to challenge your students to do hurt the brain work? That's what I'm gonna coin it as.
Well, the way I see this is we can
Yeah,
actually use the AI to, as you call it, hurt the brain in a way like
yeah,
say, okay, find me the mistake. Find
uh,
me, let's say, here's a algebra question on quadratic factoring. Find
mm,
me, tell me what is the mistake that this AI did, so we can
mm,
test it out, or until they ask the AI to make the mistake, and that works.
mm. Very interesting. I didn't think of that, but yeah, that. So now you're like using the AI and showing the limitations of AI because garbage in is garbage out, and like being able to deduce and find out the errors in the AI's approach, or find out that there isn't an error, but you would have to prove that, which means you have to do the work to prove it.
Exactly.
Very clever. I like that. Very good, very good. And so now with this like grounded approach, do you keep your focus in the UK, or do you also branch out stateside
Well,
with your?
my primary focus is New York and the United States. I want
Cool.
to contribute back to the United States. I
Oh,
mean, I've been here 6 years. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
my ultimate goal is to work with schools in New York City
Gotcha.
and to build mathematicizing
Mhm.
resilience in our
Mhm.
classroom in New York State.
Yeah, gotcha. And then do you find resistance to like you're the hot shot PhD guy who know math. Do you find the teachers like are more like pushback, like you don't know what you're talking about, or they're more like open to hear what you have to say?
Well, I would say this in New York City public school, one thing I get
Mhm.
asked is, well,
Yeah.
you never. been through the curriculum. You've never been an actual high school teacher with certification. I
Mm,
respect that, and don't get me wrong, but my goal here is to focus on three things: building resiliency towards in our students, helping
yeah.
them mathematize, and make sure they're college ready to
Mm-hmm.
conquer their 4 years in their next chapter.
And I love that last piece you said. Make sure they're college ready because that college readiness is pivotal. I mean, you saw it in GS. GS started with 100 students,
Yep.
but how much persons actually made it through general studies, right? Like it was maybe
That, hey,
10. It was like it was like a massacre and just on pre-cal alone took out people from the summer program,
yes.
right? And I met really well-intentioned people from the summer program who had the heart, meaning that they had the desire to do well, but just didn't have the basic tools in math to be
Mhm.
able to go on past the summer, much less make it through the first year or any of the years at poly, right? Not
Yes.
because they weren't passionate, just they just didn't know how to like math properly, right? Like how to multiply or do algebra or get because a lot of times when you get through engineering problems,
Hmm.
like especially in your junior year, you get through the engineering part of the problem, and then it gets down to math. And like if you're solid on your math, it's actually you're actually happy you got to this point where you could lay it out as a math equation, right? You've taken this worded problem, you figured out the rate of change equation. Now you can solve for x, right? And it's x squared. And like, if you don't know how to solve for x when it's x squared, like you're dead. You can't get the answer, right?
Yes.
So all right, so like, what does college readiness looks like for like a New Yorker or like a New York curriculum? What does that look like?
I believe so. Being in this field for a good 10 years, both
Yeah.
community college, university,
Mm-hmm.
I would say the first thing that needs to be college ready is the motivation.
Mm,
Now we could, a lot of people say, "Oh, do 1,000 problems," but no, we have to execute this right. We have to make sure like the students are passionate about it, and to be college ready stems along with being resilience and being able to be curiosity about what you're learning.
mm. No, no, I feel that. I feel that to my core because, like, it's hard to get, as a past struggling math student, it's hard to get passionate about it without the teachers. Um, I found that some teachers were just not good at motivating students to care about math. Like, they only cared about the students who were good at math, and everybody else, you were just
I
dumb.
hear you.
Yeah,
I mean, it's because it's the system we come up in. Like, think about it. Like when we took maths, there was no like here's extra credit or here's like
right,
homework. Like we had homework, sure, but there was no like here's step by step approach.
right.
That wasn't a thing in our days.
Yeah, no, no, not at all. It was like it's kill or be killed.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, there's that, and I mean, I always have like I wouldn't say a warmness in my heart for a struggling student because I was one, and like it hurts when you're a struggling student to hear that like you should just get this, you should understand this, right? Like I think as it pertains to math education, especially for people, empathy is though I think the bridge to get people across to being resilient and overcoming. And patience, empathy and patience, the ability to
Yes,
patiently explain something to somebody without them feeling stupid, and the empathy to understand where they're coming from and their frustration. Like if you can meet them where they're frustrated and like, listen, you genuinely are okay being frustrated, but it's not going to stop you from overcoming this, right? And that's
yes,
what my teacher gave me. He gave me that spark at that moment in 11th grade. And I ended up getting straight A profile for my O levels, which even my dad was like, I can't even believe the turnaround in events you had like with this specific task of math, right?
Mhm.
And like I said, it opened up so many things for me, man. Like I would never have applied to poly if that never happened. We would have never met. There's no way. I would have never felt confident that I would be able to take on the rigor of an engineering program
And
if I did not have
we our
the framework.
passing rate was what, 30% graduation rate at the time?
Yeah, probably wasn't
Yeah,
easy. It was cleaning people out,
yeah.
left, right, and center. Like I said, even how we got in through GS. You were a part of GS, or you just hanged out with the GS students?
No, no, it was a year ago. I was part of GS. I remember. Yes, yes.
So you understand, 100 students came in through the door of GS, General Studies, right? You get your tutoring, you get all of this, and only maybe 10 graduated at the end of the 4 year
Hmm.
curriculum, right? 90% died off
Yes.
through not having the, and like
And they were good people. Let me
they
say
were
that.
good people. They were
It's
good people.
not like,
It's not like they didn't care. Like one of the persons, he wanted it so bad, and I felt so bad for him because he's like his dad, his family was so proud of him for being able to get to such a prestigious school through GS, and he really wanted to do well, but it just for the time that would be needed for him to understand pre-calculus and algebra and dividing and multiplying and balancing and how to actually math, it was just too short a time. You would have to already know this thing before getting here. Like, and this is just a refresher. Not like you're actually learning. It's just too quick. It's just you're just not ready for this moment, right? It's like learning to play basketball at the NBA. Like, I don't care how passionate you are, you ain't going to score or win, right? Like, you're
I
doomed
hear
to
it. But the
fail.
Knicks are doing good this year, because I left.
Yeah, yeah. My boys Knicks is doing good, but the season is long. It's early. We'll see. We'll see how everything plays out. But everybody, we have a solid, resilient, overcoming team, right? Who
Mhm.
who who come, is ready for the challenge, and that's what we want, right? So, man, listen, like you're doing the right work. You're doing the work that's necessary. Everyone talks a big game about how they want to help, but your track record, from the length of time that I know you, right, 10 years ago, and then to come speak with you 10 years later, you carry the same level of passion that you did bright eyed into poly as are now. You stay committed and resilient to the purpose of teaching math. I appreciate you for that. Like, I know your dad, seeing your dad being a math teacher inspired you, but there are also kids who see their parents do things and also go, I'll never do that, right? That's just not for
Right.
me. But you certainly, I'm sure your dad's proud, see how far you carried the math baton on,
Of
so
course.
no, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the pod. Before you go, if someone wants to reach out to you, connect with you, learn how to be more resilient and overcome in math, how can they get in touch with you to
Honestly,
work?
you contact me through First Prep. They
Mhm.
could talk to me through my LinkedIn as well. Just type
Okay.
Matthew Yangru. And
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing. I do want to say, I know
Mhm.
we didn't speak about First Prep, but I just want to say I want to thank Dr. Lee Casey because he's the reason why me and him co-founded First Prep.
Gotcha. And of course, Prep is your platform, right?
First Prep is is our platform, and what we want to do is to work with schools in New York City and
That's
throughout the
one.
tri-state to help students become math resilient, mathematizing, and college ready.
So
So
when you built that platform, you guys sat down one day. You were drinking. I'm gonna tease you. Were drinking tea, and then you're like, "Hey, I want to build this platform." How did
no,
that come?
honestly, he came to me. We were very good friends, and we lived in the same house. He said, "Matt, why don't you just have your own platform?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't think about it at the time." He's like, "I can help
Yeah,
you." He's the website guy. He's the business guy. I'm the
yeah,
math guy, and that's
yeah.
why we came together.
Well, listen, I love it because Khan Academy started similar, right? Like, and
But
Khan Academy helped me through college. So
I want to say like I learned from other tutoring
yeah,
perspective, and I thank them. But the
yeah.
one thing that they don't have is the credibility. Like I'm running on like I want to be an affordable math company. I want to be like, okay, affordability is big in New York City, and I want
Yes.
to work with schools. Through schools, we can make tutoring affordable.
Mm,
And my idea is I have the math education background, the credibility, and I want to train tutors where we
mhm.
go into schools and we are just focusing on maths. We let the other English people do the English, history do
Yeah.
English, but I be the math
So
provider.
interesting. So you would teach, you would tutor the students to then go into tutoring math in the schools.
No, so it's so the tutors will work as in this is high impact tutoring outside their math classroom
Oh,
because
okay, okay, okay,
the
okay.
goal is, for example, is that connection between the tutor and the student.
Mm,
Because sometimes the students don't want to talk to the teacher about how they feel about math.
a hundred
This is
percent.
where the tutor is important. You could talk about how AI is going to replace teachers and tutor, but the
Yeah.
one thing that won't happen is that connection. Is that
Yes.
even Khan Academy, I give them credit, make
Hmm.
AI more personalized, more humanized. The one
Mm,
thing that is key for me is about, well, you can make it more humanized, but you need that personal touch. And that's what
yes.
I designed First Prep to do, is that personal touch.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah,
Eventually, like, yes, I will love to come back to New York City and, and build a life. But
yeah.
until then,
Until that journey happens, like this is a good way to bridge the gap. I love the approach, and my my stepmom is a assistant principal at a chartered school, so there definitely is plugged in into the school
okay,
student system. So we gotta talk because
we will talk because
again,
that's something I would love to do, charter schools as well. And I
yeah,
think the new mayor elect, I think this is going to be very good, like helping the schools out, and I want to be part of that journey.
yeah, no, definitely. We will make dream plan execute happen in multiple ways. So listen, I like the approach, and I love the spirit of what you're doing because again, all the high performing jobs, all the things that will change and give people social mobility is tied to math in some way, right? And like overcoming math is also the ability to overcome challenges in your life that's not math related because you overcome a challenge, so you know you have the confidence to do it because
Well,
you've done it before.
I just want to say, because
Mhm.
I migrate here to the UK, right, and
Yeah,
I know how it feels to be, an immigrant. I know how the
yeah,
challenges you go through, like for example, in North, where they never seen an Indo-Caribbean Hispanic American. Like I'm,
right.
so that never exists here. Like I mean, don't mean to say never exists, but it's not a thing. Think
Yeah.
about it. Like I would say I'm a Hispanic, but to them, I'm not Hispanic.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I mean, like it's a lot, and it's not only are you also breaking ground in ranges of like what they think a math intellect could be, right? Like you're in the rooms that people don't look like you all, all the time,
Well,
right?
don't get me wrong. Like I would say this, I had challenges here. Like when
Yeah.
it comes to working with teachers in school,
Hmm.
honestly, like I sent 100 emails saying, "Oh, let's be part of my study about 3D printing."
Yeah.
Didn't hear anything. And you know what? I had to say, okay, let me try going to London. This is how I got to London. Was
Mm,
actually doing my research with in Dulwich Preparatory or like Seven Sisters, like the little state schools, and
yeah.
they like, oh, like they love that New York spin to it.
Mm. See that's key. I mean, coming from a big city, you come with big city energy. Because you've been around the most competitive city, one of the most. You've lived in two of the most competitive cities,
Yeah,
right? So, yeah, people look to New York. New York leads the way in certain things, right? And so, they
New
definitely.
York make you build differently. That I would say 100%.
Yeah,
You and I both know that. Like
yeah.
you're a
Got the
hustler.
dog.
Hustle.
You got that dog in you. You gotta
You
have
know,
that dog in you. Yeah, it's a high pace. Yeah, like you know how New York is, and the English system's a little bit different. Where there's like in New York, it really comes down to do you have the grit, do you have the dog, and can you execute? And it's not just about your credibility on paper, right? Like
we
it's
all
about
saying that. Hmm.
It's about are you that guy and can you prove to us you're that guy, right?
And I agree. Like the one thing also about me working with schools and even to charter schools that my mom grew up in the South Bronx, and
Mm,
I want to get back to the South Bronx. Like I
yeah,
understand, like my mom, they grew up in poverty. I understand that. Like,
yeah,
and that's one thing I think is the appreciation of, and that's like helping students like in the South Bronx build resilience and seeing them overcome their challenges.
yeah.
To my eyes.
Yeah, no, you never know because, like, as you said, like, they're overcoming their challenges. Seeing, I felt it myself, man. Like, I literally was there when these grown adults learned how to read, and like, we'd walk from class because they were walking to the bus stop. I'm walking that same direction to go home, and I'm looking up at the bus stop sign. I'm like, read that, and they're like reading and sounding their way through it, and they're like, you can see like the holy sh- I can read a sign now. Like, I know you're looking around and things I would walk past. Like, I wouldn't care because, like, yeah, I know what to read. So I'm not. I don't. But you can see like the amount of information now that's hitting them. Like, they're seeing the world in a different way. They're like, all these signs had meanings that I never understood before, right? And now I understand it. And now I can read it. And you can see them walk different. Their confidence is different. They're a lot happier. There's not this weight on their shoulder that, come to their challenges. They're more than their challenges. They're more of they're overcome. You could feel it. Like, it definitely, I did my community service hours. I was supposed to do 20 and I ended up just doing it
I
past the 20 hours.
my community service was in Sunnyside, and I used to help like middle school with maths. That's how I got into it as well.
Yeah,
That was
see,
in high school days. High
and
school
that
days.
was high school days, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
but I do want to say one quick thing. The
Yeah.
whole point of first of why I did this is because I want them, the high school student, the middle school student, come with me as I want to give them the resilience and their curiosity. When they
Mm.
get to the university, the mathematician could take over and they could show them the proof. They could show them that problem solving skills because that is the journey. Once we get them there, the mathematician would take off.
Yeah, right. You're giving them the foundation to kind of be their own person at this point. They could be a
Exactly.
scientist, they could be an engineer, they could be a mathematician like yourself. It's so funny, the reason why I didn't give you this context. The reason why that teacher really and myself connected because his story. You see, you're a big story person. So
Hmm.
what was his story? Well, his story was like, I was a terrible math student, and then I became good at math. So I wanted to go back to start teaching math in high school so that I could find, even if there was one student who would have been me,
Hmm.
who cares to learn and cares to dare to be a better math student, that's the person I'm here for, right? Everyone's going to get taught, but my passion is finding that person who feels that they're not good and deserve to feel that they are good if they have the right teacher who, and he's explaining his experience, like, some of the teachers just couldn't understand why I was not good at math and they couldn't explain in a way that made me feel like I could understand. And he's just like, obviously my stubbornness and his stubbornness, his resilience to want to overcome it is what made him overcome it. But he's like, I also wanted to go back and help students. And in doing that, he also went and got his PhD in math.
Look at that.
I'm telling you, man, like, your story hits home for me dearly. Like, separate from the audience who will be listening to the pod, like, for me as a person, is the student you're trying to help is a student who I was. And I had someone like math in high school who allowed me to have that. He was After he helped me in high school, I didn't connect with him for 10 years. I got through college, got through SATs, got through all the calculus classes. I finished my math classes early. Um, yeah, like, I was able to help myself. He taught me how to fish. Not just give me the fish. How to deal with problems, and so, no, I don't get afraid of a math problem. In fact, those are the ones that are the most fun for me now. Like, sometimes people, it's so funny, it's so bizarre to me. Sometimes people be like, oh, you're good at math, and I'm like, you have no idea. I was that kid in school, like, I hate math and I will never be good at this. So
And
for
that's
someone to say you're good at math is like, makes me smile. So,
That's why I'm always big. That's my PhD methodology, narrative inquiry. I'm always
mm,
interested in the story, building that story.
it's important. That's how we pass down lessons through generations to generations. And him saying that at the beginning of the math class made me perk up in the math class to listen. Because now you've like resonated with me as a person, right? It's not just about
Right.
what's on the board. It's like, oh, okay, so this is your story, and this is kind of how my story is unfolding. And if you could do it, then certainly I can do it. And so now, by saying that before the class, and like just having an upbeat spirit, being in the class, teaching, it was fun to be in his class, right? Like, it's not just cracking the whip. We have an exam coming up. It was like, you know, make fun of it. And you he's like, yeah, I remember when I used to not be good at this problem and I would get it wrong. And this is how I would approach it when I got it wrong. I'm going to save you that pain. This is how you need to approach it. And it's just like, all right, cool. Like, this is good. And yeah, it built my confidence to a point where even when it got more difficult, like pure math, calculus one, calculus two, um, it didn't shake my internal confidence that I could figure it out,
Makes
whereas
sense.
it would have in the past. But no, it was just like, all right, I know what I need to do. I'm gonna just do it. So,
Fair enough.
and here we are now. Matt, listen, when you come stateside, come hit me up. I'm gonna come over to England. We gotta chat. We gotta, go to a good soccer game. Sorry, football game. In
Of course, I'll
Corona,
show you around.
show me around town. But no, man, it was good. This is a good lesson in just being resilient. And you've been, like I said, a trailblazer from the moment I met you. Keep doing what you need to do. Keep doing the work that you're doing. It's important. It's necessary. And whatever I can do to assist in making this a success, which is already booming, I'll do my very best to make it happen.
I appreciate it, Ramon.
It's good talking to you, man. Keep safe, all
You
right,
too.
brother.
Cheers, man.